Okay, I think we are live now, everyone. Hey, everyone, happy Tuesday. Thank you so much for joining us today for Education Talks. We are so excited that you could join us today. We have a wonderful conversation lined up today. I have been really in a place of reflection since I've been engaging in campaign activities such as fundraising, knocking on doors, attending endorsement events, meeting with voters. Like it's been wild and working on a dissertation. I turned in my dissertation edits like 2 weeks late. My professor was like, "What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Look, I got a lot going on, but listen, I
My
got
hands are
the in.
full.
Right, they are full. But guess what? We're not going to complain. We are going to work hard and win District E. My name is Kamilah Bywaters. I'm running for the Board of School Trustees in District E. And as I've been in reflection this week, there's just a lot of things that are going on that I've been noticing, and I want to talk about that tonight. So I wanted to talk a little bit about civic engagement and what that means for not only our educational structure, but also for us as human beings as we move forward in this election season. I invited my dear friend Brian today. Brian is the leader of the Independent Black Voters. And I was really just so inspired by the last endorsement event that he had. And I'll let him talk about it. But I was really inspired by the event because I was able to go and meet candidates, meet voters who come from different walks of life, different political parties. And I was like, whoa, there's something going on here that is great. It's amazing. I was able to learn just a lot about myself and how to engage with people who have different political parties, who have different thoughts and ideologies. And I was really like, okay, this is what our democracy is about, being
That's right.
able to reach across the aisle. And I really had a good, now I didn't agree. There was a lot of listen, a lot of the conversations were about education. And I was like, wow, this is a hot topic. So it was really fun just engaging with uh candidates and voters, like I already said. But I want to introduce you to my friend Brian because I think he's doing phenomenal work in our city to bring people together and to care about humans and to care about what people are going through and to really get into the process of vetting candidates, seeing who they are as people, seeing what their thoughts are about politics and ideology. So I'm going to go ahead and let Brian go ahead and introduce himself and let us know what it is that you do. You're on mute, Brian. You're on mute, Brian.
There we go. Well, thank you, Miss Bywaters. I appreciate the love and the positive accolades that you gave me. Again, my name is Brian Harris. I'm just an average Joe who believes in democracy, who believes that we are more alike than different, who believes that the average person wants the same things. They want to have strong schools. They want to have a middle class or better life. They want the real American dream and not the nightmare. And unfortunately, the fact of the matter is, we don't realize how much alike we are because we get into different groups. Many of those groups they spur misinformation. They create divisiveness. They don't give solutions. They give what I'm going to call band-aids, and many times they aren't band-aids. They will actually hurt what's going on today. And again, as a nonpartisan, I believe it's important, and I talk more to the people I disagree than the people I agree with. That's why you saw some Republicans there. You saw nonpartisan. You saw Democrats. And while I will listen to their agenda, I stress that it's about us and our agenda, not theirs. But if they don't hear that from us, then they take the party line, they stay with the party rhetoric, and they're not forced to get outside of their box. And that's what I love about what I'm doing now is there are people who understand If you're talking to me about the solution to schools is to break it up or to allow people to move, but the money moves with them, it's all about the money then. It's not about creating a better school system, and it's a political agenda and not a fix the problem agenda. So again, I thank you for being here. My introduction is I created the Independent Black Voters about 7 years ago. It's on Facebook. We're looking at creating our first state physical entity here in Nevada. And our goal is to talk about the real issues, not the fake issues.
Yeah, thank you. And Brian, like it really came, what you all are working on as the Independent Black Voters, it really came together for me at the event when we were at the table and we were asking a candidate their thoughts about a topic, and their immediate answer was, "Oh no, that's not going to work." And then our table went into an uproar, and we were like, "Wait, what do you mean it's not going to work?" And what came to me was that these conversations are so powerful because you never know how you as an individual, as your experience can help people to change their minds or see the world in a different way, in a different light, because you came to the table and said, let's break bread together. Let's see where we disagree, but let's see where, even in our disagreement, maybe where I may be looking at your situation from a different lens. And then when the individual went to speak, and that could be a rock and a hard place, but let me finish. I'm gonna finish my statement, then go back. Then when the individual went to speak, it was so evident that our conversation at the table and this individual hearing the concerns of the community, of the individuals that they were talking to, it shifted their talking points. Now, I do think that we need to, we still need to be mindful that, there's people who are going to shift their talking points to appease the crowd. But then we also have to vet to make sure that there are people out there who will shift their thinking because they're really like, you know what? I haven't been looking at this in the right way, and I've only been looking at it from my lens. So that moment for me was like, whoa, we really have something here, right, Michelle? Like General.
Oh, yes, you hear me giggling in the background.
Yeah.
Hi, Brian. How are you? Hi, Miss Gwen. Hello, everyone. This is the General. I was at Brian's event, and it was truly, truly awesome. And I would really, really suggest that in the future, when he gives another, that the public comes out, meet the candidates, ask questions, and hear what they have to say. I was at that
General, put on mute. Hey, General. Oh, I really want to hear what General has to say. So when the General comes back, we're going to have her finish her thoughts.
Me, open my eyes, teach me.
General,
Yeah, this
General,
particular candidate was black and white. Boom, boom, boom. Yes.
we didn't hear a lot of what you said.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you got to do it again.
Okay, I'm so sorry, but I was at Brian's event, and I was at the table with Kamilah, and there was another candidate there who was asked a question. I will not repeat the question, but it was a very important question to, I will say, we in the Black community. Very, very important. And rather than visiting it and having a discussion, this candidate's immediate reaction was, no, we don't have time for that. The topic was huge, huge. So to hear this candidate and to shoot it down so quickly and not discuss it, not have an open mind, not hear what his constituents had to say was huge. That was a huge red flag. And so I would really, really suggest to all out there, when you see that Brian's giving something out there and he's inviting the candidates to come out and meet the public, I would truly suggest come on out, meet the candidates, ask some questions, hear what they have to say, have a discussion, and get a good feel for who it is that we're looking to vote into office. It
Yeah.
was really, truly a great event.
Yeah. And I don't know if people are getting the aha moment, but I was like, listen, where's the donation link? I need to send the donation now. I was like, oh, I was telling Khaldun, I was like, oh my gosh, this clicked for me today. If it never clicked, the aha moment was absolutely there. And I recommend that candidates really just come by and see the work that IBV is doing, being engaged, because it really matters. And it's absolutely important that one, um, Trisha is in the, okay, Trisha's blogging on with us today, that you really just come test yourself. You know, we cannot be out here making decisions based on what we think is the truth, because our truth is not everyone's truth out here. It is not. And you have to get to the place of where you're willing to hear what other people have to say. Um, I do want to pause for a second because I wanted to just do some shout outs really quick. Um, if there are any upcoming events, I want to give everyone space to do the upcoming events so you can kind of pull up your events. And then I know I just kind of really stopped what we were talking about, but anywho, really quick, I want to give a big shout out to my Howard University School of Divinity family. Let me tell you, when you're running for office, you have to fundraise and make phone calls and call people you haven't talked to in a long time. And then they're telling you, hey, I haven't heard from you in a long time. And then you have to be like, well, yeah, I'm calling you to say hi and ask for money. But let me tell you, my HUSD family came through for me today to help me win District E. I'm going to have more people to call. So if you see my name coming up, that's probably why I'm calling. And my heart is humbled. It's hard to ask people for money, and my heart has been humbled. And I just wanted to really shout out my Howard University School of Divinity family, because so many of my professors and my friends and my colleagues, they really poured into me. And I'm just totally thankful that I was able to call and get get their support. I want to also thank Trisha. She just joined in. She's running for the um, State Board of Education. I don't know if you're able to introduce yourself, but I want you to go ahead and do that now if you can, Trisha.
Thank you so much, Kamilah. And I'm having a little technical difficulty with the camera. I'm not sure if you guys can see me or not. I'll work on it. But yes, I am Dr. Trisha Braxton. I am running for State Board of Education Congressional District 1. So what that means is that it's the same congressional district as Dina Titus. Nevada has 4 congressional districts, and so my district area is large, and I am here to serve. So thank you so much, Kamilah.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. And while we were at the IBV event, remember IBV Independent Black Voters event, I got word that there's people out here who are watching our show, who are engaging. If you're a candidate, please feel free to come on the show. Let us hear from you. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. We have entitled this our segments Education Talks. So it's going to expand out. Of course, we are going to tackle some of our K through 12 education topics in CCSD. But this is really about educating people. If you don't know, I am a licensed special education teacher. I'm a teacher at heart. It's a part of me. So I believe in sharing knowledge. There you are, Trisha. We see you.
Right.
There you are. So make sure you come on out. Brian, is there anything else that you wanted to say about IBV? And do you have any events or anything coming up?
Yes, I will be at the Bolden community this Saturday. They're having a basketball tournament, and I'm going to bring my bus out. It's the Black Book Media mobile lounge and gaming truck. So we're going to be out there and letting some kids have some fun and talking to them, because sometimes the best way to educate people is when they're having a good time. But I want to go back to something you said, and and here's the thing. I was really thrilled with the amount of candidates that came out. But my objective is for the people that come out. Many times they have us come to an event where we sit at chairs. We don't really interact. We might get to ask one question. Everybody says the same thing. And you really walk out there knowing about the same amount of information that you knew before. So we really enjoyed the fact, and we're looking to get more voters and non-voters out there, even ahead of the elected officials or the candidates running, because they'll come out if they know people are listening. And it is very important that we create educated voters. Many of the misinformation that is destroying this community goes to the fact that our youth and our old folks are miseducated of really what voting does and the effects. Because I'm gonna give you an example. One of the biggest things I enjoy talking to with three young men, trying to explain to them why Social Security was so important to them and was their fight, really not mine. And understanding that if you don't get involved, they talk about the fact that 1 out of 2 Black people are not financially responsible to retire. Well, right now, that other half, probably 85 to 90% of them, depend on Social Security just to eke out a life. If they end Social Security, they're going to pay me mine because I'm getting mine right now. But if they do the cutoff at 35 or 40, Black folks are going to find that 1 and 2 goes to 2 and 2 because we didn't fight for Social Security, because the young folks have been led to believe, oh, it's not going to be there when I get there. Misinformation only happens if we let it be, if we don't call misinformation misinformation. And if we can't get our kids and our youth and our friends and us old farts to get out and talk about truth, to talk about solutions, so that when we do talk to these candidates, we're informed voters. We're not chattel. We're not walking down there and they're telling us things that don't make sense, and we're shaking our heads and agreeing in it. So that's the most important thing we want to do in the independent Black voters, is engage not just people who look like us, but people in general that need to understand what our government does, how important it is to be an educated voter, and how important it is to vote. Because if you don't vote, what might happen 4 years down the road, i.e., women lost their ability to control their bodies, i.e., affirmative action died. All of these things don't happen immediately. Even right now, inflation is the economy. And I'm going to say this, President Biden has done a great job pulling the levers that from the government's aspect they do to fight inflation. But if you have a do-nothing Congress that is allowing corporations to dictate how to control us, who doesn't care about having competition, they want crony competition, then you have inflation. But we blame the president. Oh, my butter doesn't cost, it costs less under Donald Trump. Well, it costs less under him because of what people might have done 4 years ago. And now it costs more here because of what he did 4 years ago. But we don't connect the dots because we don't communicate and we don't educate our people to understand what government is, what does, and the effects of being on the sidelines. So I'm going to shut up now because I could talk for a long time on that, but it's about the people.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's it. And I've been seeing there's people who have the slogan, people over politics. Now listen, if you one of them people that has that slogan, and I've talked to the general about this, I am really particular about people who run for office and then I've never seen you in the community. For me, this is my thing. If I see somebody with a slogan, people over politics, I'm about to start looking to see where have I seen you in the community with the people that you're talking about. I am a really stickler on this. For those of you who have been following the work that I do in the community, I'm out here. I'm at school board meetings. I go to schools with students and their families. Administrators call, teachers call. So there's no question for me that I will be there for you. That's people over politics. That's a part of people over politics. So if I use that term, I feel like I'm going to be embodying it all the way because I've been present. Now, when I looked at all the people on the ballot for District E, I'm like, who? Say what? When? Where have you been?
And let me
yeah, go ahead.
let me throw out, Ms. Bywaters, we had an interview. Really, we had a discussion with you. And because your body of works stood in front of what you have done. So it was an easy foregone conclusion to endorse you because we need people like you. Just like, our endorsements, and we're going to do a series of them, we're our parties to introduce them. We endorsed Robert Twix Taylor. He is a person for the people, by the people. We've endorsed McCurdy. He's a man who's walked the talk. He loves the community. We endorsed Stephen Hortsford. I tell people, Stephen earned our vote. These folks, not only have they been in positions and you see their love is for the community over corporations, which we don't have, but they're out there every day and they know who they are. So I thank you. You're 100% right. That's why ours was really not an interview for endorsement. It was a discussion on why you were the best candidate, because you walked the talk.
Absolutely. And I thank you for that. Like, y'all, listen, I did get the IBV endorsement and I'm so excited. I told my campaign manager, he was like, yay. So I need to get the logo so I can announce it all and do my press release. But you're right. I absolutely agree with you. Like the names that you called, McCurdy, Twix, I'm sorry, let's go back. Robert Taylor, that's his name on the ballot. So I want to make sure we get that out there. Commissioner McCurdy, Robert Taylor, and Congressman Horsford, when I'm out there, I see them and their team does a phenomenal job too. And you also have to have a good team behind you and with you that supports the work that you're doing. Because the people that you named are definitely people that I see who are community centered and you can see them. And if you need them, they're going to have somebody there, a part of their team, to help you and support you. And that is what we need. Absolutely what we need. Trisha, what you got to say?
There's a statement that says, or an adage that says, couple of things. If you don't show up to vote, those who don't care for you will govern you. And that's fact, right? We know it. I'm here on your show, Kamilah, not because our districts overlap. As a matter of fact, I don't think they do, right? But education anywhere is education everywhere, and vice versa. And so it's important to know this community. We all see signs, we all see the road signs, we all see the last names, and we know who's invested in being a part of every aspect of community. I'd like to think that my work speaks volumes, as far as doing the work, implementing the work. Some of us are doing the do, head down focused, making sure that we're practicing what we preach, so that when we get out there and actually say, listen, I'm qualified. Moreover, because I've been there, right? I know what can work. That means something, right? So that's definitely the focus. That's definitely my concern when I look at individuals who want to represent me. I'm a voter. I've been voting in primaries and general elections ever since I was 18 years old. It's not lost on me, all of the issues and the hardships that had to take place in order for me to be able to vote, and so that's everything, it is extremely important that we put people, we hold people accountable for what they say, right? I know that the people over politics, that's a cool adage. It's a very catchy phrase. And in this space, there's going to be a lot of catchy phrases, right? But to what end? So I would say, look at the work that people have done, look at the impact that they've made, and make your best judgment, but definitely go out and vote. Because if you don't, people who may not care for you will be the ones governing you.
Absolutely. I want to quickly jump in, Trisha, and say, let's make sure we do our interview ASAP.
Okay.
Yeah, and the other thing too, I forgot, and I'd be remiss without saying this, I forgot KJ. Kara Jenkins, she is a young African-American woman who is who is in government right now. She is the best candidate. She's young. She understands the issues that are plaguing today. She's educated. She's worked across the line. She's worked with Republicans. She's worked with Democrats. She would be the best, and I'm saying the best mayor for this diverse city called Las Vegas. And the second thing is the primaries. Folks, we as Black people do not vote in the primaries. Again, if you don't vote in the primaries, you're forced to vote for the person that somebody else selected. So I also say during this election cycle, we're trying to raise the awareness of the need to vote in the primaries and also to support open primaries and ranked choice voting.
Thank you, Brian. Yeah, listen, y'all candidates, y'all get out there, do this work. Do this work out here. Come on now. I would be totally remiss if I did not talk about the wonderful experience that we had this week with Dr. Cornel West. Listen, I am like geeky, nerdy, oh my gosh, my uncle's coming into town type of person. And when I tell you that regardless or not, if Dr. Cornel West is running for president, mayor, whatever, Dr. Cornel West is a pillar in the Black community, a scholar, and a pillar just globally. So I always give honor and respect to Dr. West and his work. Y'all, we may be getting him on the show too. So we working on it. But let me tell you, I want to just give you a little bit of a story about how I met Dr. West. When I was in high school, and somehow, some way, the universe, God, everybody who's magical, put Dr. Cornel West and Dr. Michael Eric Dyson in front of me. And I learned that there was a degree called a PhD. And I was like, oh, wow, I want that. And who are these people? So because of them, I was like, look, I'm going for this degree. Dr. West and Dr. Dyson have it. And at that time, I can't remember exactly where I heard them speak, but this is when I was in 12th grade. I was like, I'm going for this degree. And I literally established a plan. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to meet these two people, but I'm going to meet these two people because they were just so brilliant and just exuded Black excellence. And it was just like amazing for me. Listen, y'all, decades later, true story, I used to look up where Dr. West was teaching so I could try to get a plan to bomb one of his classes. Because, you know, sometimes his classes would be sometimes kind of big. And I was like, well, I think I could go in there and just like, hey, I'm Kamilah Bywaters. I've always been inspired by you. Okay, I never did it. And I told that would be kind of stalkerish. So whatever. But I think of it as Black girl inspiration-ish. But decades later, so I graduated from Howard undergrad. Then I went back to Howard a couple years later. So from 2001, and then in 2012, I started working with Andrew Rankin Memorial Chapel with Dean Richardson. Guess what, y'all? When I learned what my job was gonna be at Chapel, because I was the dean, Dean Richardson really poured so much into my life, and really it was a life-changing experience for me. When I learned what my role was gonna be as his assistant, I looked at my role, and guess who was coming to Chapel? Dr. West and Michael Eric Dyson. I about fell out. I was like, the two people from high school who encouraged me to get a PhD were going to be there. And not only were they going to be at Howard, but I was going to have an opportunity to host them, to prepare them to come and really get a chance to engage with them. So that happened. I was able to meet Dr. West and host him at Howard University, Rankin Chapel, and also with Dr. Dyson. They're still today some of my favorite people because they inspired me to get a PhD. So again, 10 years later, Dr. West came back, the National Action Network and NAACP, and there were some other hosts on there that I can't remember who were hosting, but brought Dr. Cornel West, and I was like, oh my gosh, we're going to walk down memory lane, and I'm going to remind him that I worked at with Dean Richardson. Listen, everyone loves Dean Richardson at Rankin Chapel. He does a lot of phenomenal things. But the reason that I brought that up is because if you're out there with goals and dreams, make sure that you're following through with it, because you never know what could happen for you. Like, it was decades later, but I was able to meet Dr. Cornel West. And because of my relationship with Rankin Chapel, he will probably be coming on our show one of these days to just have a conversation with us about education. So I'm excited about that, and I look forward to having him on our show. And as I've been watching him for decades and listening to his lectures and reading his books, he is the epitome of what it means to connect with humans. Every time I see him with community, he may not say your name, but he remembers something about the conversation that he had with you, and he connects with people. And to me, that's what makes him like one of, like I said, I'm geeking out because it's Dr. Cornel West. But one of the quotes that I remember from him was when I first started looking him up in high school, in which I would like keep at the forefront of the work that I did. His quote is, "You can't lead the people if you don't love the people, and you can't save the people if you don't serve the people." And I tell you, that quote stuck with me in high school all the way through. Then I met him and I fell out, and then I met him again and I fell out, and I'm like, brilliant. So Dr. Cornel West, and like I said, we're going to try to get him on. Mr. Rodney and I are going to work on it. Thank you. So like I said, whether or not he's running for president or not, he is a pillar in our community because he has been present. He has sacrificed his career for saying things, for speaking truth to power. And I think it is absolutely important that we just honor his work. Thank you, Mr. Rodney, for making it on. I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself since you made it, co-host. Woohoo! You're out there passing out food. So I really think that's tremendous.
Hey, everybody. I don't know if you can see the food in the back of my truck. I'm actually, my SUV, I'm actually mobile right now. And yes, I am passing out food. We got a big food pop-up at Gwen Walker's house. That's on Travis Street, right in the heart where West Las Vegas and North Las Vegas meet. It's off of Inglestead for those of you who need food and want to go. But, Sister Kamilah, what you said about Dr. Cornel West's quote is I met Dr. West personally for the first time about 4 years ago. He actually came to the gathering twice and sat amongst the people. And that's what really touched me, was that a man of his stature was willing to come to our gathering and literally sit down, break bread with us, and talk like he was talking to, with folks back off the block. And that stuck with me. And it's so interesting to show how you and I kind of lock into things. Is that quote that he gave back then to me, the same quote that you just read?
Yeah.
Before I started, that's what
Oh, goodness, that was getting good. Mr. Rodney? Oh, you went out a little bit. Can you say that again? You're on mute.
I'm going through a bad section, bad reception place in town. So if I get disconnected, just go on without me, and I'll pick up the next time the signal picks up. But I was saying that quote that you read, that's the same quote that spurred me on to do this food. Is if you love the people, and there's no greater service than to give hungry people food.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you need food, I believe so I want to make sure I heard this right, but it's off of Travis Street at Gwen Walker's house. It's a food pop-up. So if you need something, head that way, or let someone know that they can pick up food. You saw the food in the back that Mr. Rodney is taking. So one big shout out to you, Mr. Rodney, for doing that. It's phenomenal that we take care of each other, right? And that's what it is about. And if you're out here and good and well, you're a candidate and you haven't been out here in these streets talking to people, you need to, well, what am I gonna say? One, so you have a lot of examples. You have a lot of examples. You got Cornell West. You can go look at him. You can see what Mr. Rodney's doing. You can see what Brian's doing, the general. See what people are doing and how they're engaging with our community and speaking to people who are out here with real life experiences. Now, I've been told that I'm smarty pants, I'm getting a PhD and all these things. It is always, I always reflect on myself. I'm like, listen, Kamilah, you don't know everything. Don't pretend like you know everything because you have a PhD degree or whatever, because you don't have to have a degree to be smart, because there's people out here with all kinds of degrees behind their names, but don't have a bit of common sense or anything. So that's not what matters to me. What matters to me is how we treat each other, how we're engaging with each other, and how do we respond? What is our response when a person comes to us and says, listen, I have a problem? I have been a clear stickler with your first response as a leader shouldn't be, no, can't think about that. Then you don't need to be the leader if you can't critically think, if you can't be creative, come up with some strategies. At the end of the day, what you can say is, you know what? It may be a challenge, but I'm going to try. That doesn't mean it's gonna, one thing we do have to recognize is that I remember when President Obama was going to be the president and everybody was like, oh yeah, we about to get it, we about to get it. I'm like, wait, hold up, y'all. You got to remember there's a system in place that is also behind the person that we believe is, he's good. We believe he's good, but there's a system around him as well that's not going to always agree with what me, you, and the president are talking about. So this is why I say it is so important. When you're speaking to candidates, here's the question. Here's what my questions boil down to. What have you done to show us that we need to trust you? And how are you going to advocate for us when you get to the position that you're in? Show me your receipts and why I need to trust you. Because when you get up there and making laws, or when you get over here and making policy, I need to be able to trust when we're not watching you, we don't come to the meetings, and we're not engaged like we need to be, that you're still going to have our best interests at heart. And this is why, like when we talk about education, this is why there's a big gap in civic education within our school system. They don't want to teach us to be engaged like that, because then you're growing students who now can advocate for themselves. You're growing students who are like, that don't look right. Let me challenge you. People don't want and don't like to be challenged. Some people don't like that. And whenever you get around a person who got so much to say and ain't doing no listening, that's red flags for me. And then they got so much to say and it's a bunch of problems, but they didn't bring no solutions or even give you some valuable solutions that will work. For those of you who have joined on today on the Facebook Live, thank you so much for joining in. I want to give a big shout out to my cousin, Belisha. Thank you for joining in. And also a big shout out to Veronica. Thank you for joining in. And for those who will watch after the live, thank you for tuning in. And please consider joining our Zoom and coming on in and having conversations with us. If you also have topics that you want us to speak about or topics that you're interested in, please come on in. I've hit up a couple people today that I'm trying to get on the show. My friend Sakira, girl, if you out there, I texted you today. I need you to come on the show. She works with the Color of Change. So we want to hear from you. Come on now. Big shout out to you. And feel free to come on in. Like, I created this space so that we can elevate each other, talk about education, and education is a broad field, so everything falls up under education, and that we can commune and listen to each other's ideas. We don't always have to agree, but we can learn from each other. And that's why this space was created, and also to give you an opportunity to see how I roll. Listen, see how I roll. And don't, be comfortable checking me. I might get a little frustrated. I might roll my eyes, but I'm gonna listen. I'm gonna listen. I will. And I have no problem saying when, okay, I need to think about this differently. I wasn't right on this. I was wrong on this. I think Anna called me out. You know, she said that her husband had told me I had said something wrong. And I was like, oh, you know what? You're absolutely right. I'll go back and make sure I correct it. So this is what this work is about. Like, we can't sit here and believe that we're the gods of information, the gods of all this stuff. No, we are all human beings trying to make the best possible situation for everyone that we can. And that's how it should be. So I don't know if anyone else had some things they want to say. We're at 6:43 right now. I wanted to make sure that we had an opportunity. So tonight, I want, the civic engagement was really important. Before we get off, I wanted to say some of the events that are coming up. There's quite a few events coming up. So make sure you're getting engaged and you're joining in. Teach your children about being engaged. This weekend, I took my children and my nephews and niece to go see Dr. Cornel West. My nephew was telling his dad, I met Kanye West. We were all like, okay, well, there is a Kanye West, but you met Cornel West. Now, listen, y'all, I would love to get Kanye West on the call. I know he's controversial, but listen, I love me some Kanye. Anywho, so let's speak all these people into existence because I would love to have them on the show. But thank you so much, everyone, just for taking your time. I really hope that you're getting engaged. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on out here. Trisha, if you have anything going on with your campaign, walk-in, knocking doors that you would need support with, you can go ahead and say that now.
Absolutely. So, I've been being where I needed to be, out there walking, knocking on doors, getting people who are in their comfort space to get to know me, and have those conversations about education. So for those of you who may not be aware of what the congressional district is that I'm hoping to represent, that I will represent, it's Congressional District 1, and it's from south of Owens, which is Paradise, which is south of East Las Vegas, Paradise, most of Henderson, all of Boulder City, down to Nelson Landing. There was redistricting in 2022 that changed the dynamics of the face of what District 1 looked like. It used to cover from east to west, and now it's mostly just east and then south. And so there's a lot that I have to do. I do have a contender, and that's that, but I can move forward focusing on my campaign and my work, keeping it solution based. I have a survey on my website. Right now it's under the tab that says I want to hear from you. And this is a survey for people 15 and up, all ages, where I want to know what these solutions could be, right? What are you thinking of? My campaign is student-centered and teacher supporting. So focus on that and we can move forward together.
I love that. Like, that's totally people first, hearing what people's ideas are. I absolutely love that. I love that. Oh my gosh. Wow, I love that. So we do have a question from Veronica on the Facebook Live. And she says, wanted to know what changes can be made to strengthen BIPOC. So BIPOC is Black, Indigenous people of color, and LGBTQ youth in schools to be protected. I think this is a fabulous question, especially since there's a lot of bullying going on in our schools. For me, what is important, and from what I'm hearing from the community, is that we have to have people that are representing all of us. We need administrators, teachers, leaders who value Black, Indigenous people of color, who value our LGBTQ plus IA communities, and who are willing to remember that we all are unique. We all have come from different backgrounds, and everyone doesn't have to do what you do. I think one of my mentors, one of my spiritual mentors, and I need to contact her, see what she's up to. She said something to me that was the most powerful thing that it absolutely changed my life. Growing up as well, when I really started, when I got myself into church as a, Christian, I do identify as a Christian. I was sold out. Listen, sold out, Jesus, woohoo, like literally, Jesus's middle name was probably my middle name, and my middle name was probably Jesus, because that's how I was. And when she told me, and I at the time, I think a lot of my ideologies were just really just no one could live up to it. And when my mentor looked at me and said, Kamilah, people, if you believe that people are wrong, people have the right to be wrong. And that really freed me, because we're over here taking so much time judging people. In schools, our jobs are to teach children and to respect who they are, to respect diversity. And I think what is a lot of the problem is that people bring in their own, they're so stuck with their own ideologies and not making room for people to be who they are and for people to experience life in the way that they want and should experience life. And I know that, even Brian and I had this conversation that there's people out here talking about, oh, they're going to take your child to the hospital and give them a surgery. My whole head just goes sideways. Listen, they not even giving aspirin to people's kids. If you give an aspirin to somebody's child without like a note, they sure ain't taking your child to do a surgery across the street at the hospital. Like, this is the outlandish things that we're hearing, and people are believing it. The same thing when the man said to induce yourself with bleach, some spray, he said, induce yourself with to get rid of COVID. I was like, why? So this is why it's absolutely important to just have people, one, who love people. And what we need to do to strengthen schools for Black, Indigenous people of color is we need to have more people who are Black, Indigenous people of color. If you've been following the school district statistics, you can count on literally one hand, for at least in high school, you can count on one hand the number of Black, Indigenous people of color that are in high school principalships. That's not good. And that's why it's one of my objectives, and I will advocate strongly for, is for having a pathway to leadership that increases our minoritized communities into those spaces. And as those individuals are in space, they will be able to create and make room for our students. They will be able to relate to our students. And I think that's absolutely important. And then also for LGBTQ communities, it's absolutely important that our teachers and our schools are recognizing and acknowledging bullying right away. That has been an issue within our schools, that they're kind of saying, oh, you're not being bullied. Well, you can't tell somebody if they're being bullied or not if you're not with them every day. Bullying is happening in our schools, and there needs to be consequences for the bullies and their parents, their guardians, immediately. And oftentimes what we're seeing from the complaints that we're getting is that schools are not handling these issues right away, and they're not creating teaching moments for the students who are bullies, and there's no repercussions that are quick enough to really improve the situation. I believe we need to be firm on discipline. I'm old school. We need to be strict, fair, and firm. I didn't say abuse children. I said be strict. If we give the kids an inch, they will take a mile. It happens to me every time. Every time the kids say, "Oh, Miss Bywaters, can we sit in another seat today?" I'm like, yeah, go ahead, sit in another seat. As soon as I let the kids sit in the seat, they acting up. And I was like, you know what? That's on me, because I let y'all sit in another seat. So go ahead and go back to your seats. There's a reason why your teacher has a seating chart, because we need to keep it strict for our children until they get to the point of, being able to just manage their behaviors. So I don't know if anybody else wanted to jump in. Veronica?
Yeah, I think with that, you have parameters that there are guidelines, if you will, right? For ages and stages of youth development, right? So think of bowling, those guardrails that are put up. It's great. It's a fun game. If you want to do it, if you want to learn it, fine. But there's an aim, there's a focus to get those pins at the end of the lane. And so as children are growing, their prefrontal cortex isn't fully developed. They're going through hormonal changes at rapid rates. However, they're processing the information around them, going from seeing the world immediately around them to the world that influences them, and then seeing that they too can be influencers. Research tells us, right, that structure for children is beneficial, and that guidance is necessary, and that guidance in the form of nurturing and care also plays a key role. And so through nurturing, through caring, through empathy, affecting the social emotional learning aspect of these young minds as they're developing is crucial, And so without that structure, you can have a bit of chaos. You can have this fear of fear and uncertainty. And that then becomes not a safe space, right? And so, Kamilah, what you've described is just wanting to create that safe space so children can focus and can learn. And that's paramount. And that's why we do what we do, right? So, whether you're formal educator, I was a formal educator, 1st and 3rd grade. And it was, leaps and bounds between the 1st graders and the 3rd graders, right? 1st graders, everything you do is wonderful, it's that and the other. You're teaching kids about different things, and what are they going to notice? Your nail polish, right? Because that's just where their focus is in 1st grade. 3rd grade is a little different, they're learning the slangs and everything, and they know that there's this thing called coolness, or getting a cred, if you will, being validated. Right. So that's a big thing, 3rd graders needing to be validated, not by their parents, not by adults, but by their peers. And what that looks like, there's a whole bunch of research on influences and how that is present with girls versus boys. Right. So, I think that that there's a lot to say to nurturing, to putting those guardrails up, to supporting our children so that they can be focused in their learning. And that's what we need to, focus on. There's a whole bunch of discussion about different issues with how education should be provided. But, I would say if Johnny can't read, right, or, if there's an issue with being able to communicate and express yourself, or if there's an issue with delayed soft skill development, then we only have us to blame. That's it for now.
And Kamilah, this is an area that we probably need about 5 hours to discuss, because there's only so much the schools can do. And the first thing they really can do is put them out of school. And that makes it worse, because now the kids at home trying to figure out how they're going to get revenge, and their parents are upset because the kids at home for bullying. It doesn't get to why the kid is doing what they're doing, which a lot of times is coming from home also. So you're putting them back in the environment to be frustrated. Kids are frustrated, so they take their frustration out on other kids that are different from them. So again, this is one that's like a whole 5-hour discussion as to what, but you got to get them to understand that they hurt somebody and why they hurt somebody. And a lot of hurt kids. And that's kind of what it comes down to. Goes back to some kind of counseling to figure out what's going on in their lives. That's all I have to say for now.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I wrote that down as a potential topic for another show, because you're right. That is a long conversation that we really need to get down to the nitty-gritty. Like what's happening. We saw this with the horrible incident that happened at Rancho. And there's other events that are happening at schools, and we really need to get to the bottom of how we're going to help our children. And it's really important that we have the conversation. So I wrote that down as a topic. And it is 6:57 right now, so we're getting down to the end. Did anyone have any final thoughts? or events that you have coming up?
Hey, Kamilah, while folks are getting themselves together to talk about their event to their final comments, what we're talking about here a little bit is emotional intelligence, and that is coming in the fore more now today than it has previously. And so if we have any of those social workers or those psychology folks out there that would like to come on and talk about um, that thing now that's starting to get that emotional intelligence, we really need to discuss that. And your previous guest talked about nature and nurture. The reality of it is most children are the sum total of their environment, typically their home. And so what they bring to the school is typically what they're experiencing at home one way or the other. And I know that one of the toughest topics to have is home and what we can do with the home. But teachers get clay that is already somewhat preformed from the home. And then they're told to finish the sculpture, even though at the end of every school day, the children are going back to the home to get resculptured from that perspective. So it's a never ending job. So that emotional intelligence is hugely important. But let's remember, sick societies produce sick children, and sick children emotionally become sick adults. So if we don't stop it at its source, and if you don't stop it in the schools, then we will breed a society of even more sick people. So wanted to share that with you all. Hey, thank you all for tuning in and listening. Hopefully you're ready to give those announcements, and I will try to be on time next time. And big shouts out to Brian for having a wonderful event this past weekend and for coming on the show to discuss it today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I wanted to make sure that I shout out Tracy Lewis. She is on the call. Thank you so much for joining us today. And really quick, Veronica did say that perhaps we could have for teachers, we could educate teachers on how to help children from bullying. So that's a good idea. And then could we ask Trustee Cavazos to come to talk about this? She is a therapist and has helped youth in schools. So definitely that sounds absolutely like a great idea. And we will, that's what you want. That's what we're gonna try to get. That's what you want. We're gonna try to get her on here to wear her therapist hat. Okay, I think that's awesome. So really quick, we do have some events coming up. March 30th, you all, please, if there are events that you want to attend, well, please attend events where there are forums for candidates so you can hear what the candidates are about before you vote. So on March 30th, from 9 a.m. to 12 noon, Vote Nevada is having a down ballot candidate forum, and that will be for those who are running for judge and also school board races and education races. Trisha, did you already sign up?
Yeah, I did sign up, and
Okay.
specifically it's for those nonpartisan races, right? So the focus
Yes.
is for nonpartisan people to see what's going on with the nonpartisan races.
Yep. So make sure you show up to that. It's a great opportunity to meet. And I'm definitely going to be looking to see who in District E is coming, because I might add it to my strategy. Can I call these people out? But anywho, we'll see what kind of permission I get for that. But come to the candidate forum. Also, I will be having canvassing either Saturday or Sunday. Probably, I got it. My son has a birthday party, so I got to schedule around that. But I will be canvassing this weekend. If you can come out with me and knock on doors, it is so fun. It is so fun. A lot of people don't even answer their door, so we just kind of leave the lit in the door. But come on out and help me win this race. I believe in doing the hard work to win this race. I'm doing fundraising calls. I'm knocking on doors. So if you can help with any of those, please let me know. I'm about to add in phone banking. If you can't walk, if you're a little nervous about asking for money, because it is nerve-wracking, then you could help me text. We can text people. Sometimes a little bit easier to text a person than it is to call them. Or you can help me send mail to send little notes to voters. So there's many ways that you can help. And also, I do need donations. So if you're able to donate to my campaign, $5 will help. If you want to step it up a little bit and give me 2 coffees instead of 1, you can donate $20.24 to my campaign. Again, $20.24 to my campaign. That's to signify 2024. Let's win in 2024. And if you can donate $20.24 every month if you're not able to donate more. Listen, I know you don't feel bad about not being able to support financially. There's other ways to help, okay? And I look forward to your support. Tracy, did you have anything you want to say?
Good evening, everyone. I just wanted to add that Kamilah and Tamika Henry will be doing an event over at the WSO on March the 29th. That's a Friday from 6 to 8. It's a fundraiser. So if you're able to come out and donate to these ladies and engage and have dialogue with them, please come out. These campaigns are not cheap, and we have a lot at stake. So please come out and support these 2 women. That's Friday, March the 29th over at the WSO. So tell all your friends. They can donate either to Kamilah or Tamika or to both because we are trying to get these seats on the board. So thank you guys. Have a good evening. And it's great seeing everyone.
And Kamilah, can you list the time and dates? You said the 20th for the, or whatever, 30th for the other place, but you didn't say where. So can you just post it somewhere?
Yes, I will post it because I thought I had the flyer in front of me, but that would be at CSN, the Cheyenne campus. So I'll make sure that you'll see the event on my page and make sure that we get it sent out again. So the down ballot forum will be on Saturday, March 30th. From 9 a.m. to 12 noon.
Okay.
Okay. Any more questions or thoughts before we leave? Okay, thank you everyone for joining us today. It is always an honor and a pleasure to just be able to be in community, to see what you're thinking about as a human being on this earth. And I really love to hear your thoughts, even if we don't think the same. I mean, this is a part of communicating with people and learning and growing and stretching ourselves to be better human beings. I am so thankful to my team, Mr. Rodney, Tracy, Miss Amy, and the general. You all are supporters of me, and I know that you love me. I know that you do because y'all up here with me every Tuesday. No matter where you are, you're like, we got to log in, you know, and please, if you got to take a break, please do. I do understand, but I just want you to know that I value who you all are as individuals, and I look forward to changing the game, changing society with you all. Brian, thank you so much for joining us. I know you're not on, but thank you so much for joining us and continue with the work you do. Oh, I forgot. Anna Binder was on the call, and we want to give a big shout out to her. Thank you for your advocacy in the Clark County School District. Thank you for all those who are watching. If you're watching after the live, come on and join us. If you're a candidate, come on in. Don't be scared. Come on in. Come on in and have a conversation with us. We're interested to hear your ideas. Thank you so much for all that you do, everyone. And I look forward to seeing you next Tuesday. My children are getting mad at me because they have an event. So we're going to head on out. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. Thank you so much, everyone, for your love and support. Bye-bye.
Bye, Kamilah.
Okay, cool. That was fun.
Are we off record?
Yes, let me make sure. Tracy, I didn't know you was gonna say that. I thought we was gonna cancel it, but that's okay.
Not the WSO, but Mariposa. Yeah.
That girl got me hot.
I'm a little bit hot. Well, no, I'm hot, and I got me for being
how many
hot.
folks are still? I'm sorry, ladies. How many folks on the call with us right now? Kamilah, can you
It's just
verify?
us, Kamilah, Tracy, and the general.
Okay, just wanted to make
Everyone
sure.
else got up. Yeah, we're not gonna gossip with them. We don't know them.
That's right.
With Trisha, we not. She's out. Yeah.
So,
Okay, Tracy, I stepped away for a moment. What happened with Mariposa?
This girl, I don't know if they think I'm gonna steal somebody's money or what, but we called her today. First and foremost, we was on the phone with just Tamika about the setting up a WSO fundraiser and then a Mariposa fundraiser with me and Tamika. She agreed. She said, okay, you all go, Tracy, right? She said, you all go ahead and forward, create the plan, come back and tell me, because she ain't about to do nothing. Today, we get on the call with her. I'm like, hey, Tamika, I think Tracy texted her, how are you doing? She's like, everything's spinning out of control. I need help. All right. We get on the call with her. We give her the update about the WSO. She got Boo Boo the Fool on the phone, some other girl, talking about, well, how are we going to do the donation, the link? And I said, well, Tamika don't have a link. So what we had said was I would do a link and then everybody could donate to the link and then we can split it. And I'm like, telling her, I'm like, but if you want to do the link, I'm not going to fight with nobody over no link and money. If y'all want to do the link and split it, fine. So I was kind of taken off aback by that. But after talking to Tracy, I think that maybe they think that they're going to bring more people than me and they're going to have more donations than me and they don't want to
wow.
and they don't want to split it. But I'm thinking, isn't this a together event? I'm
Right.
just bootleg Tamika. Tamika ain't serious about this race. She ain't got a canvas in. She ain't got a flyer. She ain't ready for an event. People been asking her to canvas. Now you see, I'm getting hot because the girl got we over here helping you. Created this.
I was gonna say, and you
you
guys are out here doing the work for this event.
And then she done got this other girl in the mix who's not even gonna be her campaign manager, asking about links and money, which I'm like, red flag. So I'm not doing Mariposa with her. I am going to do Mariposa to support Devin and Sparkle because we've already said it, but I'm doing it by myself.
Right.
Because then they started, because first and foremost, Devin was like, oh, you guys can come for free. You don't have to pay for the venue.
Nice.
So apparently what Tracy was saying is I'm sorry, Tracy, I'm going into your parts because they didn't got me.
No, you're fine. Yeah, no, because I'm done with it.
I got off the call.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't have time to be on the call talking to you about links and where the money is going. I don't need to steal no money from nobody. We can all be together and split it with a calculator together and send it. So I got off the call because I'm not about to have silly conversations about links and money and who's going to do this and divvy up that when I'm doing my fundraising call. So I got off the call to go do my fundraising calls. I said, Tracy, you handle it, whatever you think is best, go forward. These people talking about, well, with Devin, mind you, they're giving us the place for free. Everybody don't give you a place for free.
That's right.
They're not making us like give $1,000 and they're not making us like pay for drinks and stuff already like some people will do.
Right.
They started talking about, well, they think they should, well, not Tamika because Tamika was silent, which showed me Tamika don't think for herself. This girl was like, oh, well, we need to get a percentage from the sales.
Oh my gosh.
Now, I know that people do that. I know that people do that and whatever, but you should have been on the call from day one. Tamika, if you wanted somebody on the call to help us plan, then you should have been on the call from day one because Tracy had already set this stuff up with the plan that we had set forward. And I understand that things change, but to me, that kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Tamika's not putting in no work. And then now when you put the work together for her, now she got to bring a gooberhead in to try to speak for her. But here's what it boils down for me. I think Tamika thinks she's going to bring more people than me and she doesn't want to split it. That's my assumption. Because why else would we just not, whoever comes, they support us both and we split it. But I think that's what I think that's what it is. And I'm going to ask her, if that's what you believe, then just say it. We could do our own link.
You can make up your decision how you want to handle it. Goodness gracious.
I know I went off on a tangent, but they had me hot. They had me hot today. I'm like, these people are giving us their venues for free.
Did they talk to the owner of WSO and Devin at all?
No. Bush
Okay.
handled WSO. Bush handled WSO, and then Tracy handled Mariposa. I'm only gonna do WSO, and I'm not fooling with Tamika with the rest.
Good.
Because if you had all these people who were gonna donate to you, why are they not donating to you now?
That's right.
If you had all these people and you so worried about all this marketing, why you haven't been marketing now? Me and Tracy are doing WSO because people are concerned about you being present. We trying to help you out. People didn't already ask you, Tamika, why are you running against Kamilah? Now, what sense does that make? They don't even know what's going on in District C. So you think somebody's gonna take money from you? Like that whole philosophy right there, and you ain't even doing nothing? No. People are already calling Tracy, calling and saying, we don't know what's going on with this girl. She didn't miss opportunities 3 times to walk in the community with Sandra. Has not gone. No show.
Did she come to Brian's event?
No, she did not. And I don't know if she made it to the general. Did she make it to the cultural event, the women's cultural event?
I wasn't able to make that, unfortunately, because I was with my mom on the
No
phone
problem.
handling her. So I don't know.
Yeah, I made her some flyers for that event or whatever event she's gonna be passing stuff out. She probably didn't go. She talking about
You made the flyers?
for her. Yeah, I did. I helped her out with some flyers. I
You're
did.
done.
Yeah.
You're
So
done, sweetie.
what about her campaign that's sort of jumped in? They didn't make the flyers?
No, that's not the person. That's the person we talked to today is not our campaign manager. I think Tamika's not a person. She's an alien. And she needed somebody to help her to have a conversation. And she brought that young lady that was supposedly supposed to be her campaign manager last time. But the girl is pregnant, so she's not going to be able to help her. So I guess our thing was, okay, we're going to help you until you get a campaign manager. But everything we had told her to do in today's call with the young lady, I can't even remember her name, we were like, you need to be doing fundraising call. Yes, you're texting people, but you need to get on the phone and actually call and talk to people and ask them for money. She had a little excuse for that. So I think she's kind of scared to do it, which makes sense. It's uncomfortable to call and ask people for money.
I'll bring it in.
Right, Tracy? She kind of was like, oh, well, I've been texting and you guys are gonna really see me go in and everything and like talk about people because she got on my nerves today. And oh, I was we've been texting. I'm like, no, you need to build a list. You need to put the list, if it's your family, put all the people in your family, put the ask that you're gonna ask them and take notes. She's not gonna do that. And I told them this is what you need to do. Then you need to start, while you're doing that, then you need to do canvassing. You need to get out and knocking on doors. So, but they too worried about a link and where the money's gonna go. Boo, I don't take nothing from you.
My concern with Tracy's race is that, with
Tamika's race.
Tamika's race is that I don't believe she's ready to run. I don't believe she's ready to campaign. I don't think that it's in her. And unless we get very lucky, I do not, even though it should be a seat for us to win, I do not think we're going to win it unless there's a lot of help for her campaign.
Well, that's what she's counting on, is that everybody's just going to jump in and do the work for her, because Dr. Young and I have had the conversation. She's been trying to reach out to her. She's not responding. I've extended an oligarch out. I'm kind of done after, like, today was like over the top, just listening to, what's her name? Tiffany, the lady that was working with her.
That's her name,
Tiffany. And even when Tiffany was working with her 4 years ago, it was the same stuff that was being said. No call, no show, not responding to emails, not responding to text messages. People are not going to put up with that. They're just not going to do it. And so Evelyn is probably going to end up going back in on the board. So our best bet is to hope and pray that Anna gets on, Eileen Edie, And well, that will be it, I think. Because I don't think she's gonna flip seat C right now. And then there's a black guy in that race as well.
So when we're looking at this strategically, that seat is a seat that I'm actually writing off that should have been ours to flip, that we're going to miss an opportunity to flip it. And whatever, if she's going to accept your help, then great, that means we have an opportunity. But if she's not going to do it, then you have to conserve resources and apply it to where it's going to give you the best bang for your buck.
Yep.
In other words, do not waste time on someone that's not going to spend time on themselves.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, we're done. I'm gonna
And
do
that's
this.
what my family said. Yeah. Walter said it. My family said it. You sitting here trying to bust your butt to help somebody who doesn't want to help themselves.
Yeah.
And Kamilah just focused on Kamilah. And I'm like, well,
Your
yeah.
hands are full.
Yeah, but it's just really sad and shameful. We have an opportunity, but everybody was putting her up on a pedestal. Everybody was like, that's her seat, da 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 da. And I think she thinks because she's Black that she's automatically just gonna get that seat. Not unless the elitists of the whatever get in and kick it up and start helping her fundraise. Because we asked the question, has anybody been donating to your campaign? Has anybody stepped up to help you? Do you have a campaign manager? Everything was no, 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 no. Okay, Tamika, let me know where I can help you. I can act as a quasi campaign manager for you based off of what Kamilah is doing through her campaign manager. If you don't have a campaign manager or you don't have the funds for a campaign manager and somebody's trying to help you, and what really threw me was when I told her not to call Evelyn. When she said she was going to call Evelyn, I said, Tamika, don't
What
call.
is she going to call her for?
I don't know.
She said she was calling her to talk about running a clean campaign. I said, are you going to call the other 6 or 7 candidates that's in that race? Tamika, don't call her. So, Tamika, did you call Evelyn? Yeah, but she didn't answer.
Okay,
Tamika, she's
so
not going to call you.
There needs to be an intervention with her ASAP, with whoever you think that she's going to listen to. Because
Nobody. She's not listening to anybody.
And
Rodney, she's not listening. I'm sorry.
Okay, well,
listening.
I'm just saying we need to go ahead and call it one way or the other, either help her or totally cut her off. And then let's see where those resources can be applied that's going to give us something. Because she can also be a detriment to you, Kamilah. Mm-hmm. So we don't need that to happen. She can also tell the community that Kamilah did thus and so. If she is that type of person, and I'm not saying that she is, but we're talking about real world here, and people, unfortunately, are not like they are supposed to be in the story. The stories are written perfect. There's no perfect people.
So, because we've already decided to be done with it. Do the WSO.
Yeah, I said earlier, you're done. When you said they were questioning your integrity because they wanted to talk about what you're going to do about the money, but not putting in any of the work themselves, and you're out here trying to get venues and talk to club owners and venue owners, but they're not doing anything. My opinion then was you're done with that whole situation. Just be done with it, because you're just going to end up hurting yourself, I believe, if you're not.
Yeah, for sure. Because she has no none whatsoever.
Do you have any text messages or emails that you all have discussed working together and she has not been supportive of it? What I'm looking for now is, because our community is a fickle community and they do like Tamika. And so what we don't want the narrative to be, remember, Sister Kamilah, I said, you have to identify yourself.
Yeah.
Before anyone else identifies you. And you have to identify your opponent before your opponent identifies themselves. So in this case, though, she's not an opponent per se. It can be adversarial. So I'm just saying, make sure that if it comes back and let's make sure that there's something that shows where no, I reached out, we tried to do this, we tried to do that, and have receipts.
Yeah, I would say that. So we have a whole thing of,
Yeah, we have a
uh,
spreadsheet with calls, contacts, and
yeah,
then we have the text message because we're in a group chat. Because we just
Okay.
finally started hearing from her at the lateral part of today when she had the other lady on the phone.
Okay.
yeah. And then we got her to be on Hispanic in Politics. So Tracy did that. So we
Okay.
have a lot of things here that we've helped her with. Now I don't have necessarily where, well, okay, because she wrote here, Tracy said, "Hey there, do you need help? Do you have everything under order? Did you get a campaign manager?" Then today she says, "I do need help. No campaign manager yet. Everything is not under control, but I'm going down the checklist."
Okay. So that part right there, it's
Mhm.
because you asked her if she needed help and support in that email.
Mhm.
And she says, I need it.
Yes.
Pin for is something where you try to give her that help and support, a receipt where she did not accept it.
Well, she changed up. She made it seem like she had everything under control after Kamilah asked her about certain things. She said, "Well, I have that. I'm doing this, about the phone calls, the texting, and all of that kind of stuff, the canvassing." So she came back with like she had everything under control. But when you responded to that text, it was like, so we're gonna have a conversation with Devin in the morning, Devin and Sparkle, because they want to change the context of the conversation. um that part I'm not getting into it with them, because Sparkle, based off of what Devin said to her, said they could do X, Y, and Z between Tuesday and Friday from these times for happy hour. That if they were going to do it like on a multiple go around, like as an ongoing kind of a fundraiser deal, that they would charge them $50 to help market to their group of people, because they have a different market than what Tamika and Kamilah has. It may be some of the same people, maybe a different group, but they would help with the marketing, but they had to be able to bring in 40 to 50 people. Well, in their minds, they're saying, well, what if we bring in more than 40 to 50 people? We want some of the sales off of that. And I said, well, they didn't bring up anything about sales. They're giving you this space for free. When you don't have money, you go where you can get things for in-kind donation.
Yep.
And so I said, the bottom line is this, Tamika. District C, this is you. You have WSO and you have Mariposa. That's not Kamilah's district. So Kamilah can do stuff in her district that's going to benefit her. You can do stuff in District C that's going to benefit you. But in the meantime, we already have the WSO locked down, because we're going to try to keep that one as like an ongoing. So people could just come out on a Friday or whatever date they decided to choose. That would be convenient for the two of them, and have people mixing and mingling or whatever and just making a donation. That's how it's going to be set up over there at the WSO. Same thing over at Mariposa. But they're coming up with talking about drinks and food. And I told them, I said, what they said that C.H. Miller did, and the lady Marion Wilson, I think you had her over at
Williamson, yes.
Williams, was that she paid for food and drinks. And then people still donated to her campaign, but she paid whatever she paid for people to be able to eat. If you don't have that kind of money, no, you let them pay for their food and drinks, and then you let them donate to your campaign. No, everybody may not donate because they may not understand what's going on. So it's up to you to engage them and explain to them about what's happening. Anyways, I was just done with it because I've extended multiple times. This is like the third or fourth time, so I'm done. I'm getting tired of people fussing at me about Tamika, because I'm more engaged in this seat than what she is. And I'm like, well, we need the seat. We're counting votes. Everybody's not doing what we're doing. We're trying to make sure that we can flip the board so we can take, have whatever it is that we need to have with whoever the superintendent's going to be. Evelyn's going to be sitting right back up there. And even Dr. Young said, Tamika needs to realize and understand that the community has changed. It's not the same people. Everybody doesn't know her. And she's going to have to get out there. She's not even been responsive to Dr. Young. Dr. Young has even offered her like some of her old poster boards, you know, the signs and the poles
Oh,
or whatever,
wow.
the stakes and stuff
Mhm.
to use. So she's not, and Dr. Young is very concerned because she's getting the calls that I'm getting. She's not responding to people's calls or emails or this, that, and the other. People are very concerned about what's going on with Tamika right now. Very concerned.
Well, like I said, I just wanted, what I don't want to come out is that she asked for help and nobody helped her, or people promised to help her and then they were ghosts. I just want to make sure that we have the receipts to show that, no, we're not the one that was ghost. You're the one. Yes, you asked for it, we offered it, and you didn't do thus and so, or didn't want it.
Yeah, we have receipts we have our receipts to show that we help.
Yeah, it's her clique
Okay.
that don't have receipts.
The help can go too far. If the other person's not doing their part, they're not lifting a finger to really get involved, you are also running a campaign. So
Yeah.
yes, you can help some, but to jump in there and constantly uh, giving input, whether it be physical, boots on the ground, or suggestions on the phone, you can only go so far. You are also running your household,
Yeah.
in school, and your campaign. She is running a campaign as well. To give a person some help and some suggestions, that's fine. But there's a point when you have to say, okay, I've done all I can do because
Yeah.
I've got to focus on me now. And you got to step away. They've got to do their part for themselves.
So then for our tomorrow conversation with Sparkle and Devin,
Mhm.
I was gonna say, listen, we should just do our events separately.
Yeah. That's where we are. Because like I told her, even if you wanted to do your event separately in District C, you're still going to be getting support, but you might be pulling support away from her because you're out in her district, in her venues, you know, because people know you. And then you're still doing events in your district because people are getting to know you over there.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I'm done. I'm done because I'm so flustered with them two right now. Well, I've been frustrated with Tamika. I knew, Walter knew. We kept saying, okay, we was trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. We were thinking that things were going to be different or look different. But right now, everything is a repeat of what happened 4 years ago.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
The
But
one thing I will say that I agree with Rodney is that be careful when you step away, because you have offered to help. She was assuming she was going to be a part of these fundraisers. You have to be careful when you step away and how you step away, because if they're still under the assumption that even if they do not communicate with you again at all, if they're still assuming that they're part of these fundraisers, that animal is going to rear its head.
Okay, I'm glad you all
And
said that,
wonder,
'cause I
well,
was
what
gonna
about us? We were supposed to be a part of this as well.
Right. So how should we go about it then? Because I'm glad you said something, because I was gonna go off on her.
Oh, no.
So I'm glad you all. I was
Go
like,
off on
you
her
get
in
on my
your mind.
nerves. Say that again.
Yeah. So no. But I would just point blank, you may have to ask. You may have to ask the next time that they're giving you too much pushback, but you have to be tactful in how you word it, because you just let them know, well, I don't want to force you into doing this if you're not comfortable with it. And
Right,
if you're
okay.
not comfortable with it, it's okay. Just
Yeah.
tell them it's okay. And when you give your fundraiser, I'll show up to support you. But if you're not
Yep.
comfortable with this one, it's okay. And let that and leave it. Don't beg. Don't keep asking.
Yeah.
But just throw it on out there. If you're not comfortable, it's okay. And I'll show up when you give your fundraiser as well. Please come on out and support us. And leave it alone. But wait
Keep it
for an
positive.
answer. Yeah.
Okay.
And then wait for that answer.
Okay. So put it back on
Is
them.
matter of fact, is Wally on the call?
No.
No.
Shaquilla? Okay, I was just
No,
gonna
she's
joke,
not.
make a joke about her, but I was gonna say don't do it like Wally, but it lost
Yeah,
its resonance. She's not
Wally
here.
Wally is like you, Camilla. She'll point blank come out and tell you. I don't need you. And very colorful. Add
You heard
to it.
how she was with Mr. Grady.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
No,
Wow.
I guess ultimately I'm with the general is what I'm trying to say. So thanks for doing a better job of explaining it than I did, General. Is if there seems like there needs to be a clean break. There's agreement amongst the team that there needs to be a clean break, but it needs to be a clean break. And it needs to be something that's receivable. Because again, you don't want word to go out because she does have people who they may not do a lick for her, but be a mouthpiece and say, what, something, oh, well, she thought she was working with another Black woman and who suddenly turned her back on her, or,
Yeah.
she set up a fundraiser,
None of that.
but then
None
she
of
took
that.
all the money,
No.
blah, blah, blah. So you just have to make sure that it's a clean break with receipts.
Okay. Okay.
And positive. The general stated it, if you don't, we understand it if you don't want to do, and I'm just trying to paraphrasing her, but it doesn't have to be this thing, just an idea. Just like the general says, we understand if you don't want to do this, and so if you want to go in a different direction, that's fine. And that part about we'll come to your fundraisers and your events to cheer you on and support you so that there's no ambiguity in it.
Okay.
And be done with it. Clean.
Right.
Don't keep asking. Don't keep talking about it. Because when you keep talking about it and you keep asking, that's when the red flags come on with that person. They go, well, wait, maybe we should. No, don't keep pushing it. Say it, be done with it, and move on.
Okay. Well, I didn't learn me a lesson. I didn't learn me a lesson dealing with Tamika. Yeah. All right, you all, I do gotta go so I can take the kids to an event, but I look forward to talking to you all tomorrow.
All right, take care. Be careful this
All
evening.
right. Thank you. Tracy,
Right.
I'll call
Bye-bye.
you back.
All
Okay.
right. Good night,
Good
everybody.
All right. Thank
Bye-bye.
you,
Be
Mr.
safe.
Rodney. Bye-bye.